Open the meeting at 4:06. Can you hear me okay? Okay. First of all, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you all again for your dedication and commitment to this committee. If we would, why don't we go ahead and do a roundtable just to get everybody's names so that we can kind of get that out and make sure that we all know who we're going to be dealing with and talking with. I'll go ahead and start. Mike Lara, and I'm with City Council. We'll go this way.
Karen Wheat, plain old citizen.
Munir Ahmed, I'm with the local chamber.
Bernie Balan, a citizen and representative of the IBW, electrical workers.
Mike Setley with Beaumont Unified School District.
Mike.
Alan Coburn with Berkshire Hathaway.
Betty Rader, Executive Director of the Beaumont Chamber.
And Kyle Wersinski with the City of Beaumont.
All right. So I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Did you want to read off the names and check them off for me?
For roll call?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can read them, I'll say whether or they'll.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
Or not, and
So I'm going to go ahead and we'll call this meeting to order. I'm going to do roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Ray Santos. Not here. Councilmember Mike Lara, I will be here. City Manager Todd Parton.
Here.
All right. Economic Development Manager Kyle Wersinski.
I am here.
All right. Member, and please forgive me, Munir Ahmed.
Here.
All right. Member Bernie Balan.
Balan, present.
Balan. Member Bertha Barraza. Member Alan Coblin.
Present.
All right. Member Betty Radar.
Here.
Member Mike Setley,
Here.
representing Beaumont Unified School District. Member Kimberly Stars. Member Karen Wheat.
I'm here.
And the Beaumont Unified School District student to be named at a later date. We do not, has anybody received any requests for public comment?
I have one.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open public comment at 4:09.
Could we do the pledge?
Pledge of allegiance.
I'm sorry. Kyle, thank you. Please stand while we do the pledge. Or repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Kyle. All right, so we don't have any requests for excused absences at this point. We do not have any approvals or adjustments to the agenda at this time. Anybody have a conflict of interest disclosure? All right. And we don't usually have to give blood on the first meeting, correct?
No.
That's coming? All right, so you have something to look forward to in the future meetings. Okay, so let's try this again one more time. We have one request for public comment, and let's go ahead and bump that to 4:10. I'll open public comment.
And we have Ron Roy.
Okay, thank you. I like the informalness. I really like this. Like, call this a workshop? I'd be great, you know. So let me do my 2 cents in here. Give me a chance, so I'm going to take it. Of course, I am not here to be dogmatic. I am here to throw an idea, and the person with the best idea wins. That's the way I look at it, okay? So I'm just here to make sure that, hit the demand button here, that you make sure you get a good feedback system. I know in my neighborhood we have a lot of variety of people and what they want. The best thing you could do is if you can get out to the community, ask them what they want, figure out how you do that and get the feedback and then post it for the community to see. So, you know, some of us want the branding iron. They can't wait. Or to get in the ORV, go out to Johnson Valley, you know. Some of us want the veggie grill, right? We want it out here. And we want to go to Joshua Tree and do some hiking. So you got both people in the neighborhood. And so the other thing is I don't want you to be in a bubble. You know, we have municipal boundaries, but let's not forget where we are in this global powerhouse of SoCal. Okay, we've got the Coachella Valley. We got world famous national parks. We have the world famous attractors in OC and LA. So let's not be in a bubble. Let's just live in that. So I appreciate it. And so let me just jump in here. I'm first of all, I want to give you some gossip. Here in Fairway Canyon, where I come from, we were really relieved that the Calamasa built those homes. You know, there's an intersection of Palmer and Tunkwood Canyon. And, okay, they could be more quality. I wish they were bigger and better quality, I'll be honest. But we were really worried that they were going to put a retail center, a neighborhood shopping center right off the freeway. And we all felt, I believe, many of us, that would have brought in a lot of light. So we were relieved. There's still one parcel up there, and we're still, in my view, maybe we shouldn't do retail. We can go to the Oak Valley, you know where the Rite Aid Center is? That's plenty close. It's nice. We can go there. We actually go a lot to Calamasa, you know where the Stater Brothers is. And then, of course, the 12th Street, you know, Marketplace, 2nd Street Marketplace. Okay, so now I kind of gave you a quick gossip of why we're grateful that the city, so please tell the city not to put city of Calamasa not to put a neighborhood shopping center, what's the last parcel. Okay, now let me just kind of dive in for a second. When I get scripted, I put you right to sleep, so I'm trying not to do that, okay? Okay, so right now I'd like you to frame the city's economic development as a land use issue, okay? I want to just put it in that lens. And I think it's a central factor because there's only so much land in the city. Okay, so what we decide to put here and where we decide to put it, it's the most important decision to make. So I talked to you about you got to get out to the city, get an outreach and feedback system. That's really important. Okay, so now, because everything is at a distance and we are more and more purchasing online, we're getting a lot of our stuff online now. I wish there was an Office Depot, but you know, we can get our office supplies online. So just be aware that, you know, you're in a position now where that old model of bricks and mortar, it may not be relevant as much. You know, we still have a lot of vacant land, so we can be creative. Okay, so what are my neighbors most, in my own personal view, they're most concerned with? Will their neighborhood keep the quality and property values? Second, and maybe it's first, are their children going to the best schools? I hate to put you on the spot, Mr. Satley, but it is number one on the radio dial. I mean, I'm telling you, if you talk about what is most important for property values, you know, that's what you want, because that's your number one investment is your house.
Mr. Roy?
Yes, sir.
To wrap
Yeah,
up,
okay,
you're about
I'll
three,
give
you're
you
almost
one
4
more
minutes.
minute. I know you didn't put me on the timer.
I got you on a
appreciate
timer right here, my friend. You're about,
Okay, I bet.
you're almost 4 minutes.
Oh, I am at 4 minutes? Okay, so give me 30 seconds.
Okay.
Appreciate that leverage there.
You got it.
Okay, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. Real quickly, I suggest, so think about where you put your schools. I've suggested that should be number one. Mr. Slightly can give you feedback, but I'm thinking 20 for elementary, 35 for middle, and 75 for high schools in terms of acreage. Also, we need a Trader Joe's, Smart and Final, Superstores, Clark's Nutrition, Veggie Grill. And I got away with it. I got 4.5 minutes. That's pretty good.
All right.
That's like a misdemeanor around here, so. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you for your comments,
Appreciate it.
Mr. Roy. Appreciate that very much. Okay. Do we have any additional public comments?
We do not.
So with that, I will close public comment at 4:15. Brings us to item number 2, our action items. Public hearing and request. I already covered item number A, or item A, letter A, introductions. Except, does everybody know City Manager, Mr. Todd Parton? The Todd Parton? Infamous Todd Parton? Man about town? All right. So that'll take us to item 2B, approval of the minutes dated December 12th, 2018. I will make a motion to approve the minutes for the EDC meetings of 12/12 of 2018.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Carries unanimous. Okay, now we have the fun and exciting 2C, which is appointment of chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. So typically what we have to do for each committee is each committee will have a chairperson. That chairperson will be responsible for running the meetings. They'll have a vice chair. That person's responsibilities will be to run the meetings in the absence of the chair. And then we had the secretary, whose awesome job it is to take minutes and notes of the meeting. On that, Kyle, does previously the secretary take the notes and do they give them to somebody, or do they type them up and then submit them to you, or how has that worked in the past? Just so we have a...
Tricky question. So what was previously done is you all just nominated me as secretary, and then I took the notes, and then I gave them to myself.
Perfect. You have any problem with being nominated as secretary this time? You are awesome. Kyle's the best secretary around, just so you know. So hopefully none of the other committees will try to steal him from us. He'll be ours. So, so I will make a nomination to make Kyle Warsinski secretary for Economic Development Committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
How many seconds do you need?
I just need
Who
one.
wants it? Who wants it?
I'll take it.
All right.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. It's unanimous.
No?
You have it?
I vote no? I'll vote, okay, I'll accept.
Thank you very much, Kyle. So that leaves us with the chair and vice chair position. Typically, we try not to have a council member be a chair or vice chair, because this is more a committee of the community or the people. And so my preference is that we have either any other representative be chair and vice chair. First of all, we'll just ask, is there anybody who'd like to volunteer to be chair? Take on that fun, exciting, I mean, it's exciting. Bueller?
Yeah.
I won't,
No one?
Bernie looks excited.
I won't shy away from it, but I won't volunteer for it.
I'll nominate Bernie.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a nomination for Bernie Bullard?
Beland.
Beland, sorry. And we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous, bro. All right, Bernie.
This is the meeting I should have missed.
No, because then we would have nominated you while you were gone, so
Right.
you're welcome.
Right.
We have, so do we have a volunteer for vice chair?
Can Cal do that too?
I'm sorry, sir?
Can Cal do that too?
I don't know.
City manager.
Can a city manager?
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah,
That wouldn't be good.
it's better to have somebody like yourself,
I
perhaps.
was thinking like Betty.
Betty, would you be okay with that, or?
Sure.
All right,
I'll second it.
here we go. Well, I'll make the motion to nominate Betty Radar, and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Fantastic. Ron would be so proud. So typically what we'll do is we'll have the chair take the center seat, and then the vice chair to their right or left, it doesn't matter, except there's not any particular sitting order.
Left-hand side seat.
And you can go ahead and run the meeting from the dais. I think there's the gavels up there, so you can
There.
gavel any of those unruly people that may be in attendance.
Yes. Congratulations.
There's even Kleenex up
You're
here.
gonna look way better. You're gonna look way better up there.
Making this up as we go
You
along.
can thank me later.
I'll miss you. We'll be right next to Bernie. We'll be right there.
Goodness, this goes with a big raise, right?
It does. It looks like it's about a 18-inch raise from ground level to
That's good. Double what they got before.
lots of perks and benefits as well. So with that, I will hand the meeting over to the chair,
Oh,
Bernie.
well, thank you,
You're very welcome.
Councilman
Thank
Lyer.
you.
All right, well, thank you guys for your vote of confidence. I don't know if I should have missed this meeting. Like I said, it probably would have played out better in my favor, but I'd also like to thank Terrence for stepping down and vacating the position. I look forward to serving with you guys going forward. So we'll move on to item D, update of projects from the city staff.
Thank you, Committee Chair. So I have a decent amount of updates, especially since we had missed the last meeting in January due to just how the appointments kind of were set. So I'm really glad that we had members of the public that applied to sit on the committee and other members that were on the committee that reapplied to continue to work with us here at staff level and at the council level. So we really appreciate your time. Some of the major projects that we've been working on are, some of them are coming to fruition, like the commercial shopping center out there by California Highway Patrol. So the Panera Bread's open now, the Sonic is open now, Pyology's open, Ono Hawaiian Barbecue's chugging away at their tenant improvements, slowly but surely. They're like the turtle in the race. And then the car wash is almost done. Les Schwab has fixed their issues with their permit and should be starting soon. And then lastly, I think the beginning of the Rite Aid is moving forward. If you've seen that corner piece, that's the Rite Aid. So that'll be a fully occupied and viable shopping center. The reason I bring it up is some of the new committee members are seeing the tail end of it. And some of the longstanding committee members kind of saw what staff and the city were working on at the very onset, which was just a concept of what was going on. You got to see how the process unfolded between when it was just a concept and when it was approved, as well as how long it took from when it was approved till they actually built it. It takes a lot longer than we all would like, but that's kind of the realistic timeline that we expect when we're dealing with these types of developments. So some of the other ones that are going on that we've talked about are obviously the Potrero interchange. We see that go up and makes further progress each month that we have meetings here. So it now looks like a bridge. The work that's currently commencing is a lot of the utility lines that are going through the structure itself. And then once those are complete and installed, then it'll actually starting to be poured with concrete to be a bridge. So that's, I think, still on schedule. I mean, obviously, we've had a little bit of delays with all projects, not just city ones, because of the rainy season. But that's going on throughout everywhere. So it's not like we're unique in that situation. The other thing is, if you were to drive out on 4th Street, you're going to see a couple different things. In fact, I was out there today. First, you're going to see a big pipe on the side of the street. That is our brine line, which is part of the sewer treatment plant expansion and upgrade. So when we're going through the process of upgrading our sewer treatment facility, and we're going to be taking salt out of the actual water that's been treated, and then that needs to go somewhere. So we have really clean water that we're going to be putting back to beneficial use within the region. But we have this byproduct, and it's called brine. What it is just like this really salty water. And that gets put in a pipe and shipped all the way from here to San Bernardino, and through San Bernardino all the way down to Orange County and Huntington Beach. So city council is building, the city's building a line from here to the end of that pipe. So that's what you see. If you see it out there, you're going to see a really large pipe, a very long pipe. It's going to be installed in that street. The other thing you'll see, if you haven't already seen it, is the Amazon building. So that's something that the city's excited about, and looking forward to getting that facility completed, as well as all the different primary jobs that'll be created within that building. Some of the other major projects that we're working on is, obviously, it's budget season. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, we had a workshop a couple Saturdays ago, in which City Council went through a process of identifying priority projects and then graded those, and then they give them to staff, and we try to come up with a programmatic budget in order to accomplish some of those key programs that City Council wants to see. Another one that I'll talk about, and that Councilmember Laura brought up, is there has been some rumors or scuttlebutt on social media. So if you have social media, you've probably seen this thing, and it was a site plan of the commercial shopping center we've been talking about for years now that would be between Kohl's and where the Sonic's gonna be. So if you're on Facebook or whatever, mom's group or whatever it is, you've probably seen it in the last couple of days. So immediately when that thing was posted, it had hundreds of comments, and I got like 10 phone calls within 30 minutes of the thing posting, including people in Riverside texting me. Like, how does that just shows the power of social media, how fast something will spread. So they're all like, well, is this gonna happen? Is it true? When's it gonna happen? So what I've told people is that I can't guarantee any of those things are going to happen on that project. What I have told individuals that have contacted the city is that we have been working diligently with that developer to attract those uses. So if all goes well, in a perfect world, we may see a decent amount of those that are on that site plan actually built. But my caveat is there's 20 different variables that could, in essence, take place that will throw that site plan off, or some of those uses won't happen. So we don't necessarily know how it got out there, but what we are saying is that none of them are certain, but we're definitely working on those uses with the developer, and hopefully some of those come to fruition. So I don't know if anyone has any questions on that, but.
How did that site plan come about as far as which different entities would be inside the shopping center? Is it
Yeah, so that
based
was,
off of what we hope to see, or is that like legitimate?
I think a product of what a landowner at some point in time in the past put together. It's not the most updated version that I've seen, but it's something that, I mean, there's definitely merit to some of the users that are in there. We're not gonna sit here and say that none of those are ones that we've been talking to. It's just that, and you guys have seen this, how skeptical I was to say that Sonic was coming in until it started to be built, because I've done that before in my career, where I said something's gonna happen, and then something outside our city's control or even the developer's control occurs.
Right.
And then Kyle's out there saying that in February 2019, we're getting this use that never actually happens.
Yeah,
So-
if that in and out doesn't show up, you're in trouble.
Point taken.
Not from me, from all the different things I read. Everybody's excited about in and out.
Well, what Carl isn't mentioning is a lot of times when you have discussions like that, developers don't want any information leaked at all until things have been signed or permits have been issued. Some is for competitive reasons, I think, but a lot of times they want to keep it hush-hush until until everybody knows or they pull permits. So I understand why Kyle's reluctant to commit to anything also, and doesn't want to offend any potential developers of that project as well.
Right.
I'm sorry, Carl, did I miss it? Do you know, is there approximate time frame on any of that construction then, or is that still not even announced either?
So they're currently in plan checking on grading. So we've received, I think, only one building permit application for one of those buildings. And the rest of them have not submitted building permits, so.
And then in the process, at what point do you announce who it is? Just, do they announce it, or do you, once they pull the permit, or how does that work?
Well, they can announce it whenever they want.
Sure.
So if they come out with a press release, then we'll forward it, things like that. But I get worried about even promoting that type of information from City Hall, because then we're promoting it. And if something happens, then, so my good example is the Target that was gonna go in across from Rite Aid on Oak Valley. Like, I knew that Target was gonna happen. And the recession hit, and Target said, no, we're not doing it. So if I would have been out there saying Target was gonna happen, and it doesn't, then we're on the hook for saying it's gonna happen, getting people really excited. So normally, we will tell people when we get like a business license application. You'll probably see the building going up during that same period of time. So they've already submitted for plan checking. I don't even tell people then, because just having a permit to build something isn't building it. When they start erecting it is about the same time they start going through our simple approval process on opening a drive-through restaurant, right? So then at that point in time, we're fairly certain that they're building this thing and they've applied for a business license. So we put two together and say that they should be done in the next 90, 120 days or so. So about that time period.
If I can add to it, the builder won't identify a specific tenant until they have a signed lease, and any options that the new tenant has have expired, so they can't get out of it. So like Kyle mentioned, Target, they had a way of getting out of it. So it would be not in the best interest of the developer to say we're getting in and out until they have an actual signed lease with them.
We don't want to be advertising one local business over another.
Sure.
So word will get out there, and it'll get out there ahead of us. We've had LA Fitness coming all over town, right?
Yeah.
So,
4 of them.
16 Costco's.
16.
Yeah.
Good deal. Any other questions or any other updates on?
That's all the updates I have. City Manager Parton may have a couple that I missed. I always reserve that right to him.
Just one thing real quick, the Oak Valley Parkway signalization project is waiting on SoCal Edison to be energized. So we've actually gone dormant on that project because we're waiting for SoCal to get their lines out there. Once it happens, we'll remobilize and we'll get
Which one? Which project was it?
that's the signals at Oak Valley Parkway and I-10.
You have an
So
ETA on that from Edison or like that?
We're in their 60-day window, so it takes
Yeah, you wait for that.
some time for them to get out there. So we're just waiting on that.
I told my wife it was the rain. Stop bugging, babe. It's the rain.
It usually works. That's a good.
Keeps raining for 60 days.
Yeah.
You might be right.
Pull a permit for the arc, then you got really problems.
Good deal. Do we have any other questions of the committee for the staff? Seeing none, move on to item E, discussion of economic development strategic plan update.
So I don't have too much to talk about because I'm going to be sending out an agenda package for next week's summit meeting. I can go over some of the items that are going to be in that action plan. What we're going to be talking about next week is the action plan or prelim action plan itself. So the first meeting, we did our revised SWOT analysis, right? So that's what we accomplished at the first summit meeting. The second one, we all got on our smartphones and then voted on the different types of industries that had been targeted that we may want to support. Didn't necessarily care if they came or not, or didn't want to spend any resources on attracting. So that's kind of what we did, and we have that target industry analysis prepared. And then there was a couple other data sets that the consultant has come up with that I think have been shared with the group in terms of how many retail square footage the area can support based on our incomes for the next 20 or so years. And then we as staff cross-referenced how many square feet of these types of uses, like an office or how much retail or industrial, with what city council has identified in the general plan. So you have one project which is based on revenue, how much money collectively the city residents are gonna make, how much of that they typically spend on things, and then what components of those things that they are normally spending on are here or not. And if they're not, we can possibly attract those here to get full absorption, if you will, on what we're selling. So the second one is what council's done in terms of land use. So it's one thing to identify that we need, let's say, 200,000 square feet of office, but what if your city doesn't have land available for office? So we cross-referenced what we're working on the strategic plan with the general plan and found out that in every scenario, we have more land available than what the demand is showing. And that's really good, because if it was flipped, then you'd be in a situation where you were going to be able to not attract as much as you could. So you really want more. One of the things that I've talked about with people is that if we have more land than what our retail demand is, we can always try to get other people's demand built here.
Right.
So that's kind of far reaching. It may not happen, but we can always try. So if our demand study shows 400,000 in retail, our little sub-region, which includes Banning and Yucaipa and Calamasa and Morongo, if that region shows they're gonna build 1 million, well, why should we stop at 400? Maybe we can take some of theirs, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at. We have available land based on the land use that city council's approved to hopefully focus on those. And it'll give us a good idea when we're done, what target industries we want to go after. So do we want to make a focus on offices and try to get more of our fair share of those offices? Or do we want to focus on retail? Or do we want to focus on industrial? So at the meeting next week is going to be this action plan. And Todd and I call them launch points. And what it is programs or initiatives that are going to come out of our workings with all this data. So it's one thing to just compile a bunch of paper, right, that has words and numbers on it. It's another thing to take those and to come up with programs or tasks or duties for the city to start implementing. And that's where the rubber hits the road, if you will. So that's what we're going to be discussing at the next meeting, is what types of things we're thinking of doing. And I think, I haven't read through it a lot, but I think we're going to be looking at priority roles on prioritizing what the summit stakeholders feel are important aspects. City council could all tell us that we're crazy, right? And they don't agree with that. They're going to set the policy and go a different way. But I think that our input will be valuable nonetheless if they choose to do that. I doubt they will, because they've structured the strategic plan in such a way that we're going to be bringing in public input.
With the new appointments of the committee, were they invited to the summit, or are they invited?
Of course.
Okay. Was everybody able to attend any of them, or not yet?
All the new people? Anybody?
Yeah, did anybody here present, were you guys able to attend either of the first 2 meetings? I'm just curious. Yeah?
I was at both.
Okay. I was at the first one, I wasn't able to attend the second, but I look forward to Thursday, so.
So the new members have been given all of the work product from the first 2 to review, just so that I tried to get them up to speed with exactly what's been going on. And that's the best we can do at this point in time. But even if you haven't been to the first 2, please come to the next one, because the next one's kind of working on things that are actually going to be in the strategic plan versus the data sets.
Still set for 7 a.m.?
7:30 or so, and I'll get you guys Panera Bread. And
Sonic's not
we'll
open yet. Jersey Mike's.
A week from tomorrow, so on Thursday, which I think is the 21st.
Right.
So I think we're going to start around 8:30, but
Okay.
please be here a little bit earlier than that, and that way you can get your bagel or cinnamon roll
Good deal.
and some coffee. We'll have coffee that early in the morning.
Kyle, how long is that session?
It will end by 10. I mean, if you have things to talk to us about afterwards, we'll be sure to stay after and answer questions or bring in extra thoughts. But formally, I tell people it's from 8 to 10, so that way the people that are really helping us out by attending aren't stuck here all day. I want to get them back to their professions. Hopefully Terrence still comes. I told him he's still invited
Right.
because he went to the first one.
He needs to be here for the third one, tell him. It's on record. Good deal.
You're here about 7:55 because you need a buddy to eat those cinnamon rolls, right? They're so big.
Yeah.
Buddy system.
I made the mistake of trying to eat one of those solo. Didn't work out so good. I mean, it tasted amazing, but yeah, my sugar intake was at an all-time high.
Good deal.
For 2 days.
All right, do we have any other questions or discussion on the Economic Development Strategic Plan update from the committee or the staff? All right, seeing none, we will move on to item F, discussion of Economic Development Committee goals. So refresh my memory, Kyle, if we're going to go through this or we're going to discuss them, I'll follow suit on this one from you.
So we kind of just leave this one on there so that everyone's reminded of what the vision statement and the committee goals are. as we move forward, as well as to tie them into whatever might be on the agenda each time that we meet. So this is kind of what we came up with as a result of the initial SWOT analysis that we did at the very beginning of the establishment of the committee.
Right.
What'll be interesting is when we finish with the strategic plan, if we sit down here at the committee level and decide that based on the work that the city council has approved on the strategic plan, if these goals or the vision statement may need to be amended or shift.
All right.
And I think that's one thing to keep in mind as we go through this is this thing was not created as just a shot in the dark and these are going to be our goals from now on. It was an idea of that committee, which were different members that are sitting here today, and what they thought that we wanted to work on at that time.
Right.
So as we continue to move forward and evolve, I think it'll be important to look at these and then make suggestions. And how we do that is we would talk about them here, come up with new ones, and then present those to city council for their approval so that they know what goals the committee wants to work on.
Gotcha. So just to recap, the committee's vision statement was, the Beaumont Economic Development Committee shall work to create a balanced, sustainable, and diverse business base that leverages existing local business while filling in gaps by creating a plan to recruit and market to new business that will benefit Beaumont's growth, quality of life, and values that Beaumont City Council sets forth. The committee goals that we had come up with, some of them were develop an economically balanced community, recruit new business while retaining and expanding local business that promote growth of primary jobs and/or sales tax revenue, create a quality of place that establishes Beaumont as a community to establish or grow a business, and leverage the city's strengths to maximize business opportunities. Everybody have any questions on those or comments, ideas, additions? I see you smiling.
I think one of the things that will help, and we can probably present at the next meeting, as we talked, as Kyle had alluded to, we had a city council workshop, and part of that workshop, the biggest chunk of it, was really looking at economic conditions and kind of where we see the economy going within our area, particularly for the community. But the council also identified some 51 projects that they would work on, and they prioritize those as low, medium, and high priority projects. And so I think when you see that list of projects, we just got the table with all that kind of cleaned up today and out to council for some final revision to it. But we can present that when you see that. I think you'll see how that starts to lead into some of these points. And so that'll be some good stuff there, and kind of walk through some of that. So I think it would be a good time to dovetail some of that into this during that time.
Good deal, thank you. Any other comments on item I? Nobody? Or item 1, seeing none, we'll move on to item 2, F2. Discussion of committee member tasks. Number 1 was attraction and retention program. A, partner with chamber to provide resources to businesses. Do we want to go over these one at a time?
Yeah, so these were things that we had talked about at one point in time in the past at the committee level. The first one, we never really got into a attraction and retention program. We did do our business survey, which is more of a retention and expansion type of program. So we kind of did something like that we got the committee members involved in how the businesses in town that are here now are currently feeling.
Right.
And whether they wanted to talk to us or not is another story. But the intro to the new business program is something that we've kicked around, but we haven't really focused on until maybe after the strategic plan. And it's not on, like, that's a good example. Like, if we come next Thursday and that type of program is something that the committee wants to see, and it's not on the list that consultant's doing, then you may want to bring that up as an action point. Does that make sense? We've talked about it here. Obviously, it's on this list because the committee itself thought it was important. It may or may not be on that list of of action steps. So if it's not, when we go through that, maybe bring up a suggestion on that during the summit meeting.
Gotcha.
The city has started partnering with the chamber on providing resources to businesses in terms of the grand openings and those types of things that we've done. The chamber's also helped us by co-hosting events for our small business startups and entrepreneur events that we've had. And when we partnered with Riverside County for the Access to Capital event. So we're trying to roll out more of these programs, partnering with the chamber, with Betty and the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
On how to maximize our resources here at City Hall as well as theirs at the chamber level.
Good deal. Do you have any comments on that?
Just one, and that was Kyle. We've talked with Kyle briefly about the struggling businesses, which the chamber hears about oftentimes when they're in for renewal and they're struggling and they can't renew financially. And so Kyle had talked about possibly developing a program to help these businesses that are struggling. So the development of that would be beneficial, I think, to some of the smaller businesses.
Good deal. Okay. Any other comments on item 2, discussion of committee member tasks from the committee or staff? Nobody? I have one. I'm kind of curious. Does staff see us as potentially entering into any tasks? And does the committee feel as if you guys are willing to commit to actually maybe getting out and doing some action as a committee rather than just meeting and discussing things? So that's a question for everybody. Does the staff see any things in the future that you guys hope that the committee will actually do other than just meet? And is the committee willing to get out and do stuff like we did, or at least try to do?
I would like to see the committee be involved with ribbon cuttings and the mixers that the chamber has, and those types of things. So what we could do, if the committee is in favor of it, is get you on an email list and let you know when those things are happening. You know, City Council and Todd are already on that list, but we could include the committee.
Right. Show a bigger force of the community.
I like that idea.
Sounds good.
Committee's all for that, all the members of the committee. So I'm sure not everybody might be able to attend all of them, but at least if some of us can help attend it, help weaken the load.
It's really exciting to the person having the ribbon cutting or the grand reopening.
Right.
When City Council shows up or Todd shows up, it really means a lot to them.
Right.
And, you know, the feedback that we get is how much they appreciate that. So it does have an impact.
That's good. Well, thank you for that. Anybody else?
I think what I'm looking forward to, the EDSP is a very good, I think it's been a very good process. And the work product to this point, I think, has been very good and on point. So I think that EDSP is going to contain some implementation concepts that we can then begin to sink our teeth into. So I kind of see that coming forward and then allowing us then to, you know, finally have kind of a more formalized concept of where we're trying to move forward to.
Right.
So then kind of right now, we have a general concept of what we are, but we're getting down to some very specific data and point-driven action items. And so I look forward to that, and I think there'll be some discussion at that point about, okay, what are the things that this committee can begin to try to tackle?
Good
You
deal.
know, and I think there's some policy things that we definitely want to bring back and get some feedback on for council. And then maybe there's some projects and some things we want to try to tackle.
Good deal.
So I think that's evolving.
And I think that's a really good point, Todd, because, you know, looking around, I see a lot of new faces. We have some of the ones that have been here before, but when we started, some of these policies that are identified in F2, we had not started the economic development plan yet. And so once that portion of that started, we kind of held off on doing anything that would be contrary to that plan. So we're kind of just waiting for that feedback from the consultant to let us know and provide kind of a guide for us here, and so that we kind of know which way to go and what we want to look at supporting. So That's a great point. That was something I was going to mention as well.
And then the only other thing I would throw in is that I think what Todd has said is 100% correct, that we'll kind of see exactly what is going to be laid out from the city side in terms of action steps that the city council has identified. But I always like to use your example on the boot camp, is that if members on this committee want to work with other members on the committee to promote programs, either at the resident level or at the professional level, like Bernie and Terrence had worked on, to create programs that stimulate the development, or in their case, workforce development of the community, by all means, go for it and come up with those, and then come up with those processes here and talk about them, and then let us know what's going to happen. Do not wait for Todd and I to just come up with the ideas, because you didn't do that. You saw a program that you were working on somewhere else. You said, well, how is this going to help or benefit the residents and the students within Beaumont Unified?
Right.
And you rolled out a program, and you didn't really come to me and say, hey, do you think that the city would think that this would be a good idea? You just kind of rolled with it, and that's what we kind of expect the committee members to do, is to come up with ideas or tasks or duties themselves that you may not even need to work with me.
Right.
So that's a good example. It's like, I didn't get involved with what Beaumont Unified and what IBW was doing. I was going to try to attend the thing to support it, but unfortunately I had a conflict.
You got to bring Panera this time.
Yeah, and we'll see what we can do. So
Just kidding.
that's a good example, is committee members working together for the common goal that meets these goals in the vision statement. It doesn't have to be reserved to things that we here at City Hall or that City Council think are important.
Right.
But don't those tasks have to be approved by the committee?
We talked about them here, and I think that it wasn't like a economic development committee event per se. It was just something that we kind of talked about, in which Bernie's group was going to hold a boot camp. We offered that to the Beaumont Unified School District, and it was because we were working at this level that the two mixed in the event occurred.
But I guess what I'm getting at is that a couple of members think, hey, this is a project that I really like, I do too, let's go for it. They should still come back to the committee and say, okay, this is what we're doing. We have this thing. So the committee sanctions it in a sense.
I think that's a good idea.
So, may I? If I follow you, what you're saying, Kyle, is that we all either live or work or have businesses in the city, right? So we are already engaged with the community. And everything we do may or may not be something that this EDC is engaged in. This gives us an opportunity to get to know each other. It gives us an opportunity to know what is city already planning. So when we are in as a private citizen, as a business person, whatever we are doing, it just empowers us more. This is not to take away from what EDC as committee member we could bring forward, but rather in addition to. Am I following, right?
Yeah, it's 100%
Because if it is
correct.
part of, within the purview of the committee, then you have all those disclosure requirement, public notice requirement, you have your, that's a different issue, right? So if let's say, Todd and I happen to have coffee somewhere as a local business person, and him living in here, not as the city manager, that's different, that's outside the purview. So if city has something on agenda, we should be careful not to go too far into that, right?
Yes.
So I guess my take away from what your conversation, what we are conversing here is that us being more informed and I'm being able to take on more things that doesn't has to be sanctioned by the city necessarily.
Maybe I should clarify my comment. I'm just saying that if hypothetically the two of you come up with this idea that's going to better a program for the city that benefits everybody, or even a select group. I'm just saying, since you are representing this committee and you're members of this committee, the committee should be aware of what it is you're doing at the onset. That's all.
Well, I agree with you, but I think the
Aware,
distinction
not-
I'm trying
Not
to.
necessarily approve it,
Right.
but just be aware of it.
The distinction I'm trying to make is that aside from being a committee member, we also are the, as I said, local citizens
Right.
of business, so we do many things, right?
Yeah.
So if it is related to city agenda, I mean, one of the other commission that I serve on, actually, we have a way of kind of bringing what you are suggesting, is that going around the table for a minute or so for each of the commissioner to update on their endeavors that didn't come from the commission agenda. So that's one way of disclosing, one of, updating each other. In fact, that also leads to other joining, saying, hey, I'm interested in that, I'm gonna go see you.
Right. No, I'm sure what you're saying is anything that's gonna have the stamp of a specific committee on it would be approved by the full committee.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Anything outside is.
Yeah. What we did was just a community event that I already function in on a daily basis. And I just included, through our relationship with Terrence and working here with the city, we invited city staff, we invited the Economic Development Committee to attend. And it was an opportunity for the students to at least know what's available to them as far as building and construction trades are concerned. So, but yeah, anything that the committee does, I think that it's going to have the Economic Development Committee stamp would be approved by the committee. Good deal. All right, any other discussions on committee tasks?
I have a question. Item number 3. Summer internship programs. Can you explain that to me? Give me a little more detail on what
We were trying to roll out an internship program with either Beaumont Unified or Mount San Jacinto at City Hall. Or we were trying to figure out if there was businesses within the area that may benefit from those types of internship programs. But it hasn't necessarily got off the ground at this point in time.
The reason I ask is because of relatively new decisions on internships to clarify what I'm saying is unpaid internships are almost a thing of the past. Unless the intern is majoring or taking classes in that field at school, at a accredited school, and the program is approved by that school. Otherwise, they have to be paid. So I just wanted to throw those 2 cents in.
Thank you for that. Good deal. So do we want to hold off on setting a discussion or any goals until after the summit and maybe having committee tasks and council come back with something that maybe they'll think would be good for us to move forward with? All right, so moving on to item G, topics for future agendas. There's 9 items here. Do we want to discuss them briefly, or do we want to put one of them for next month's meeting? How do you want to handle this one, Kyle?
Some of these we don't necessarily need to be talking about at the next meeting or tonight. 2 of the ones that I might be able to bring to the next meeting, I can't guarantee it because we're still, as administrative staff, still kind of churning through some of this data, are 6 and 7. So property tax reporting and kind of the model that we've created in terms of property tax revenues.
Okay.
Projecting out until 2035 or something like that. And then the other one is something that we've been working on in partnership with Claremont McKenna, which is this recession indicator report. And I don't have all of the data sets needed to kind of compile that report at the time being. But if we get some of those before the next EDC meeting, we may be able to put that on the agenda.
All right.
And that's something that we've been working on with one of their economists at that college in terms of trying to figure out how city council and staff may be able to, I wouldn't necessarily say predict a recession, because it's almost impossible, but to look at the things that are typically
Trends.
indicators of a recession.
Right.
They may not be true, they may be true. I think the doctor we're working with said that the statistics show that economists have predicted 12 of the last 8 recessions.
Right.
So they get them all right, and they get more right that didn't actually occur.
Right.
So that's the fun part when you look at some of these indicators, is they trigger but then nothing happens. And then
Gotcha.
it's, well, why didn't it happen? So we're trying to put together some things that economists or the industry groups look at that
Okay.
may show us that one is looming.
And you might be able to bring one of those reports back to us next month?
Yeah, we're compiling that, so it'll be our own report.
Okay.
We'll, if we can bring it back next month just to get you an idea of kind of what we're looking at.
Do we as the committee want to take these topics and compress them or add any, or do we want to leave them as they are?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, on the cannabis in the area, I think we've got some information now
Mhm.
that we probably need to bring that up and talk about that a little bit. We've heard from the DA's office, we know what's evolving and going, and kind of some of the things that may start to indirectly affect us. I think, don't you think?
Yeah.
We could do that, Commissioner County. It's got some things going on.
What I'd like to see too, Kyle, is if you don't mind, if you could do maybe an overview, just a brief overview to bring our new members up to speed, kind of on what the plan was for this committee as far as, I guess what the foresight is for us and what our responsibilities are. Just kind of an overview, 30,000-foot level, if you will. Just so that we all kind of have an idea, and might be a good refresher for us folks that have been on there too as well.
Sure.
So those are items for next month, right? To bring back?
If he has time to put that together, yeah.
Good deal.
I think one thing too, may be beneficial for y'all to review the city council's legislative platform.
Mhm.
We're finalizing that, so you can kind of see where we're heading as a community. And there's some economic development and some land use legislative issues that the city has taken a position on generally. And there may be some opportunities for this committee to kind of plug in if we need to head to.
What's the easiest way to find that information?
I'm sorry.
What's the easiest way for us to find that information?
We're finishing out a letter
Mhm.
that will actually be submitted to organizations like League of Cities. So we'll actually have a letter that will get to everybody.
Okay, you'll send it to us then?
Yes, yeah, you'll get a copy of that letter when we get that done. It's pretty involved, and it's very circumspect. And then, I don't know, Kyle, we may want to run through the vision concept for downtown and the plaza too. It kind of helps create an idea of what we're looking at.
Yeah, I
for
can do that.
downtown. But our
Good
next
deal.
meeting, yeah.
Next meeting?
Yeah, we've done a concept plan for how to repurpose this area behind the Civic Center as a plaza, community plaza, and kind of community park area. And the long-term plan is to repurpose the old elementary school building on the far north end into City Hall. So this becomes a true community center, City Hall's up there, and you have a plaza here, and then we've got this specific plan project underway that is part of the general plan update that looks at a downtown-specific plan for downtown, and then streetscapes and all that. So the plaza, all that, general plan and specific plan are all coming together for kind of downtown vision. And we have some immediate interim steps and some things we're looking at to try to calm traffic down, increase parking downtown, some things like that. So definitely I think maybe some things that this committee would be a good sounding board, some of these strategies.
Good deal. All right, so just to recap, was there any upcoming ribbon cuttings that the committee could be involved in before next meeting? Or does that need to be waited and approved on by council?
Us attending those?
Yeah,
No, we can, I think we're okay with that,
in
right?
case if you want to coordinate with Kyle and city council and then,
Getting the word out to committee members to attend those?
Chambers sends them out weekly. In fact, well, sometimes
we-
go to.
but I mean, as far as the committee actually being able to attend on behalf of, I'd rather get approval from city council and do things the right way than to just start it.
I think city council wouldn't have a problem with that. I think it all ties into what the goal is for this committee.
Right.
I think the more that we can be seen in the community, supporting new businesses.
Each other, right?
Yeah,
So
I'll
maybe-
bring-
I think it's a good
I'll bring it
idea.
up on my update for next Tuesday's city council meeting. It
Okay.
won't be an action thing where we're asking for approval. I'll just tell them that the committee showed interest in attending the different ribbon cuttings.
In support of the
That
business.
you may end up seeing a lot of the committee members at these types of events.
Is that to be individuals or representing the committee?
You could
Me either.
wear both hats, because I'll be there as a city staff person and a member of the committee. If Mike were to go, then
Well,
obviously he's
I say that
representing
it might
the
be
school
nice if the
and.
members of, I'm sorry, don't mean to interrupt. It might be nice then if the committee members who attend, rephrase that, if the committee members had some sort of identification for the public to identify them as committee members attending that function, whether it be a baseball cap or something, so they can say, oh, look, someone from the Economic Development Committee who's part of the city is here in attendance supporting us, and we really like that.
Right.
As opposed to, oh, I know Betty, I know Alan, I
Right.
know Todd. It gives more backbone to it, more oomph and more.
Everybody wear green ties.
Yeah, I was saying,
Okay.
yeah. So something to think about.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe you guys can take that to the other committees too. I don't know
Yeah.
if, isn't there's like 2 other committees, right?
We have the Standing Finance Commission.
And then the planning commission too. Do they show up? to that
Planning
stuff?
Commission.
We don't want either one of them going out to the community, so.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think you have a good point that an individual that's opening a
Maybe just
business.
a name badge of some type with this identification that is the Economic Development Committee and the name.
You didn't like my green tie idea?
Oh, sure.
I'm just kidding.
No, for certain days of the
green
year.
tie for you.
I don't have
I'll
a green
have to
tie.
remember that day, right?
So then Betty, you and Kyle maybe can work on if anything is upcoming and we need to be informed. If not,
There's no date set. The upcoming ones that will happen is Side by Side Humanitarian is having a reopening, and Custom Trophies is having a relocation and reopening.
Oh.
The dates, we're working on the dates right now. And then we're also working with Car Wash, Craft Brewery, and the New Barbecue on 6th Street for their ribbon cutting. So those are the ones we're working on.
good deal. Well, we'll look forward to hearing some dates.
The craft
The
brewery's
next-
finally gonna open?
They got their C of O today.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, because I was actually at the counter when Jimmy picked it up. So. That'll be a real fun mixer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna that grand opening is gonna be starting at like
I'll be
5
there.
o'clock when we're off work.
Good deal.
Pizza place.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like we have some exciting reports for us for next meeting. We got some opportunities with some of the ribbon cuttings as they start to happen in the next coming months. And that will bring us to item H, committee member reports. Not everybody needs to give a report, but if you guys have something that you feel is relevant to the group and you want to share it with us, you know, now's the time to go ahead and do so. And we'll start with Councilman Lara.
Nothing relevant at this point. Well, maybe next time, but I do want to welcome all the new committee members, and I thank you again for your time and your commitment to this. It'll be a great learning experience. I've learned a lot in a short amount of time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Wheat.
Nothing at this time.
Nothing? Mr. Ahmed.
You know, first time attending, new to the city, so nice to be part of this group as I'm trying to get my feet wet around the city and so forth. Appreciate the opportunity and look forward to interacting with everybody and getting to know each other and the city a lot.
All right. Good deal. Mr. Parton?
Is that a rain joke you just made, getting your feet wet?
But it's raining outside, so limited to go out, right?
One thing I have to say is that was the worst Super Bowl of all time. But the one report I can make right now.
I was just thinking about the new tagline.
Yes.
You want to report out on that?
Sure. Are you ready? You want to present it? It's a.
No, I was just,
So the city,
But you-
one project that the city is doing this year is a branding and permanent imagery project. So we brought in CV Strategies to help us freshen up our logo, and one key element was writing a new tagline. So City Council did adopt a new tagline,
we did.
which is
Wait for it.
city elevated. A city elevated. And so we're looking for, obviously tagline, short, punchy, but we are envisioning a marketing and advertising campaign that's built off of Elevated. And economic development, Kyle and the ESP's done, we'll be developing some marketing around that element too. So we're excited, and
Cool.
we're a city elevated.
Good deal. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing everybody next Thursday. I look forward to serving together on the committee. And if anybody's interested, on March 12th, we will be conducting our second boot camp. This will be a district-wide, well, we'll call it our region. In my industry, we have all of Riverside County we have individuals who work in the electrical industry throughout the county. And we've broken our county up into districts, and my district includes Beaumont, Banning, Cabazon, Paris, Moreno Valley. And we're going to have students from 5 different school districts at our boot camp. So Beaumont's bringing 17 students, Moreno Valley's bringing 17 students, San Jacinto's bringing 17 students. And what it is it's an opportunity for high school students that are about to graduate and unsure of what they're going to do to come down and see what the building trades has to offer, earning potential, and educational opportunities that are available to them. So the kids get to come in and they go through a few different courses throughout the day. They go through math relevancy, first aid CPR, electrical safety and theory, and then we're going to do a hands-on portion, and we've actually added a soft skills. So we'll bring the students in and kind of just go over some interview soft skills items with them, and then they end up, in the end of the day, they're going to go through a hands-on portion. And through our work here, the economic development with Terrence and Dr. Brown, Eben Brown, we actually were able to bring a couple other crafts into our boot camp. So it's not just going to be electrical this time. There will actually be sheet metal workers there, and there will also be the iron workers there, so that the students at the end of the day will get an opportunity to have a trade selection. So if they think they might be interested in the electrical field or the sheet metal industry or iron workers, they'll be able to branch out and go do some hands-on there. So if you guys are available and you want to come down, we'd love to have you as our guests. Kyle will be providing Panera bread. Just kidding. No, we'll provide a light breakfast and lunch for the students. So if you guys are available on March 12th, down at our training center located at 1855 Business Center Drive in San Bernardino, from about 8:30 till 2 o'clock, the students will be there. That's all I have.
I get to be the rainbow and unicorn person. Myself always happy. On January 24th, the Chamber had its installation, actually the 65th installation. We had 180 attendees. That's about 40 more than we had last year, so that's a positive thing. This month so far, we've had 5 new members. We had a joint mixer last night with the San Gregorio Memorial Hospital, with the Yucaipa Chamber, Calamasa Chamber, and Banning Chamber. And about 75 to 100 people there, so that was very well attended, very well received. We're activating or starting again to have mixers. We're going to try and have chamber mixers on a monthly basis, so we'll be letting you all know about those. We already talked about upcoming ribbon cuttings. We had a ribbon cutting at the dental office of Beaumont this month, within the last month. And we also had the 40th anniversary of the Center for Spiritual Living. So it's been busy and positive.
Good deal. Well, thank you. Mr. Sadley?
Being new, I don't have a lot to add today, other than I'm pleased to hear about the outreach. I think it's great that high school kids participate, students participate. We need a lot more younger people going into the trades, working with a lot of contractors. There's a massive shortage out there, which affects construction prices, and it makes it difficult to get things done. So any outreach we can do for the young students kind of exiting high school and college to get into the trades is great, because they're definitely needed. So.
And Mr. Coblin, right?
Coblin.
Coblin. Mr. Coblin.
I've nothing to report at this time. I'm just thrilled to be here and thank City Council for having the faith in me and confidence, and as well as Kyle, who I've been talking to for a long time. I've come to Beaumont 10 months ago, and have a lot of experience with another city, and eager to participate and be a member of this team.
Where'd you come from?
La Cañada Fronters.
Oh, good deal.
I spent 16 years on various commissions, from Public Works to Parks and Rec, and I was on 9 separate subcommittees under City Council,
Well, thank you.
as well as running all the youth sports programs at the city.
Oh, good deal. You gonna jump on with BYB? Help out? They need help. Yeah.
Oh, that's one of the
We'll
community
see.
segments here.
I'm coaching my daughter's softball team. I know we need help, so good deal. Thank you.
Real quick, you both touched on something regarding your boot camp. Talking to a couple of developers that I deal with, one of the problems that they're running into, and Connie, you may have heard this too, but is the lack of labor in the industry is now starting to impact production and sales of homes, because there is such a lack of being able to get people out there to help build the homes. So what you're doing, I think is great, and it's a great introduction to for these younger folks.
Good deal. Thank you. Kyle?
What was the address for the boot camp?
1855 Business Center Drive. That's 1855 Business Center Drive, San Bernardino, 92408. It's right by the claim jumpers on Hospitality.
Okay.
I know what that is.
So do I.
Other than all the construction,
Okay.
It's a good look.
We'll have another one.
digging up.
And what time does it start at?
It'll start, the students will start trickling in about 8, and then we'll start doing introductions and recognition of dignitaries around 8:30. And we'll release the students at 9 for their breakouts, and then they should wrap up around 2 to get back on their buses,
cool.
come back home.
So around 8 to 2 or so.
And you can stop in anytime.
Minimum age is 2.5.
In order to get into the trade, minimum, what did you say?
Say 2.5.
Oh, yeah, you can bring your son, daughter. Yeah,
You can't put him to work yet, Kyle. Nice try,
We could
buddy.
do hands-on training with him. He's good with a hammer.
hey, for real though, if you do have your kids that day and you want to come, our electrical training safety individual, he does something really cool. Like he does training for fire departments throughout the nation, and it's pretty cool. The kids really like that part of it. In addition to the hands-on, he has the bandograph generators where it sparks out the electricity. You put your hand on it, and your hair will stand on edge. It's cool. And he does a good presentation.
Be
Anything else?
careful, I did it once and look what happened. I just,
That's it. Thank you.
All right. Well, I would just like to say, guys, moving forward, I look forward to working together. If you guys are going to miss, make sure you let Kyle know. That allows us to free our schedules. If we know we're not going to have a quorum, then no need in all of us showing up just to end up not having a quorum and not being able to attend the meeting. So out of common courtesy for each other and our time and our family's time, if we can make sure and inform Kyle well enough ahead of time, if you know you're going to miss, that'll help us be more productive. And with that, I'll adjourn the meeting at 5:19. See you guys next month.